what education doesn't teach you. Education. Education is arguably the single most important thing in the world. Education is what allows society to progress. Education is the world. Education is what's allowed us to go from the nomadic hunter-gatherers of the past to the prosperous civilization today. It's what's allowed us to progress. Education, but now before I talk about any issues with our education system, I want to acknowledge what it does well. Education teaches students various important skills, such as critical thinking, time management, and reasoning to allow them to become intellectuals. It also teaches various important subjects such as math, the sciences, language arts, and history. However, is this all that concerns our modern society? Are these the only topics that matter? And if there are other topics that matter, can we include them in our curriculum? Well, I believe we can. First off, why aren't topics such as finances, societal issues, and everyday tasks such as cooking taught at school? Why aren't the arts more heavily emphasized? Now, I know what you're thinking. Aren't high schoolers mandated to do a year of art to graduate? And they are. However, because art oftentimes hurts a high schooler's GPA, they're unmotivated to take these classes and find workarounds losing potential important life experiences. They do this because, what is going on? Because we focus so much on GPA. GPA is, for many high schoolers, GPA is the end-all be-all. It's a stat above all others. GPA is what defines who you were, it's what defines who you are. GPA is a number which defines the success of an individual. But focusing so much on one stat is never a good thing, especially when that stat is flawed. See, GPA divides classes into two categories: honors and AP classes and gen ed classes. But are classes really just easy or difficult? Is life really just black or white? Is there no gray area? Are there no classes that perhaps aren't difficult but aren't easy either? There are. Thus, I propose we use a more expansive GPA system, a system which accounts for a greater variety of classes. With this system, students will be more motivated to take classes that they want. They won't take classes just because it improves their GPA. Additionally, you'll notice I have a category in red titled Arts, PE, etc. Now, with these classes, I believe that we should crumple them up in a ball and throw them. Now, I don't think that they're unimportant. No, I think we should do that because they're important. Because these classes are so important, they shouldn't be factored into our GPA system. Students don't take these classes because it hurts their GPA. But if they're no longer factored into our GPA, would students take them? I believe they would. Now, 90% of high schoolers believe that getting good grades is very important. However, less than 10% of them think that it's important because of the value of learning. See, while it's great that high schoolers understand the importance of achievement, we're walking on a dangerous tightrope. See, high school is not a place to achieve, it's a place to learn. It's a place to find out your likes, your dislikes, your strengths, your weaknesses. It's a place to find you. High school is a place where you find what you want to do in the future. It's a place where you find your dreams and your goals. Okay, that's because the classes that you care about in the future will be the ones that stick with you in the future. So we should make sure that that we take the classes that we care about in high school. Another topic that high schools often fail to address is mental health. In many places, it's taboo to talk about them. If somebody asks how you're doing, you put on your mask and you say, I'm doing fine, I'm doing fine. Now, I want to focus your attention on the bottom two stats. Approximately 16.5% of high schoolers reported that they had a mental health illness in 2018, prior to the pandemic. And approximately 50% of them got the help they needed. Now, although schools have systems to help these students, evidently they're not being used. This is because schools are unable to create an environment where students feel safe, where they feel like they can talk to others and get help. For example, I had a friend. He's a very smart individual. He's in multiple AP and honors classes. He's in multiple sports teams. He's in multiple clubs. You know, if there was a brochure for Santiago, he could very well be on the front page. He's been a straight A student his whole life, but for the first time ever, he was getting C's. So he didn't know what to do. He did what any high schooler would do in this situation. He cut off all his other activities, and he focused on studying. He cut off on his sleep. He cut off on his sports. He cut off on his social environment. And he began to study more, study harder, study longer. But his grades didn't go up. His grades just didn't go up. So he did something that many high schoolers are afraid to do. He asked his friends for help. He came to us and he asked us what he needs to do to improve his grades. Now, before I tell you what we advise him to do, does anybody have a guess? If this was your friend, what would you say? Just please shout it out. Study harder? That's not how it works, though. He tried studying harder, but it didn't work. See? No. We advise him to sleep. To sleep, it's something so simple, anyone can do it, even a baby can do it. To sleep, how's that going to improve his grades? But he trusted us, he decided that he would sleep more. He began to focus more on his mental health, he began to focus more on himself, he became content with his life. And his grades went up. See, oh man, I don't know what happened. Anyways, high schools, you see, many people think that high schools teach us stuff, but high schools emphasize this thing that I like to call the blueprint for success. This blueprint tells us that we do good in high school, we'll do good in college, then we get to go to a job and we become what society views as successful. That's it, that's the end of the presentation, that's it, yay, let's go home. Why is no one clapping? Why is no one clapping? Well, I just told you the secret is happiness. That's because that's not happiness. Now, I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. There's this quote from James Baldwin that I want to talk about. James Baldwin essentially said that education and society are at odds with one another, that they can't coexist. He said that education strives to create individuals who point out issues in society and seek to correct them. But society, it just wants individuals who put their head down, do their job, do as they're told. You see, education teaches us what to think, not how to think. We learn that Hitler used propaganda during the Holocaust, but we don't learn what type of propaganda he used. We learn the definition of propaganda, but not how to discern what it is. Oh, God. That's because education strives to create a competent society. We are cogs in this system who are doing our role. Not all of us can be these influential thinkers like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. We need people who work under them too. And this blueprint for success tells us that we should be happy with it, that that's successful. This blueprint for success stifles our creativity. It tells us to be happy. But is that success? You know, creativity is a billion-dollar idea, but it's a 1 in a billion chance, so why take that risk? Why take that risk when you can follow this blueprint for success? When this path has already been laid out for you, and you can just walk on it and be happy. I say, why not? Why not take a chance? Why not do what you want to do if that's what you view as success, if that's what you want to do? Now, I'm not saying you should drop out of high school and should be like, Mom, starting a business, because that's not going to work. I'm saying that you should hold on to your creativity. You should never let this education system stifle it, and then when the time comes, you should pursue it. So I've talked a lot about our education system. How do we fix it? That's the billion-dollar question, right? That's the question we all want. See, there's no answer, and I hate to say this, but I hope that every person in this audience has their own version of education, and their own ideal education. See, education is different for every person. It is a means to the future. It is a way for us to get to where we want. And all of us want to get to different places, so it's different for all of us. Education is what can connect society, not by thinking of the world in terms of black and white, but by walking into the unknown and seeing these varying shades of gray that encompass us. Education is a reflection upon life and society. And instead of treating it as a separate entity, we should make sure that it truly prepares us for the uphill climb ahead. Thank you.